Hello and welcome to this video on the draft schedules. They were released today. This is my first time looking at them. So, my friends gave me, some of the people I know gave me some ideas of what this is going to be like. But it basically says here the timetable shows each train that stops at stations covered when they stop at Jamaica and their western capitals and key intermediate stops such as Mineola. Not all stops are shown, especially at rush hour. So not all intermediate stops are shown, especially at rush hour. So these are draft schedules, all right? They won't be scheduled connections at Jamaica anymore, all right? So let's go and start with the Port Jefferson branch, all right? Main line east, Hicksville through New Hyde Park. All right, so they're splitting this up. This is going to be a little different from what we're used to looking at. So this is the overview that we have for the service here. And it says here that, let me make this a little bit easier so you can see this. It says here, at Weekday Peak, arriving NYC 6 to 10 a.m. and departing 8 to 4 p.m., all right? At New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Carl Place in Westbury, peak service has been significantly increased by nearly 30% in the morning and 75% in the evening. At Mineola and Hicksville, service has increased by 20 to 25%. Most trains will run to and from Manhattan with limited Hunters Point Avenue through service available. All trains will stop at Jamaica where transfers opportunities will be available to Brooklyn. So it looks like all trains will actually stop at Jamaica on this. So I guess we don't get any flyers. At New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Carl Place, and Mineola trains will run every half an hour off-peak and weekend with hourly service to and from Penn Station and hourly service to Grand Central. This is double the current service levels. Mineola Hicksville will now see 4 trains an hour with 2 to Penn Station and 2 to Grand Central. Wow, we're going to have a big increase here. Mineola also sees an additional train every 1 to 2 hours to and from the Oyster Bay branch. This is a 50 to 100% increase over current service levels, and reverse commute service has been improved as well, with gaps of up to 3 hours in the morning and 90 minutes in the evening now closed. So we won't have to deal with those gaps. That's as a result of the third track project. All right. So this is the main line area here, and you'll see here on the Monday through Friday here. This is going to be a long video. It's going to be a lot to go over. In the Monday through Friday area here, you will see that, at Mineola, you'll have trains fairly often here. 6:50, pretty much every 5 to 10 minutes at Mineola here. They all do stop at Jamaica. And then some go to Grand Central and some go to Penn Station, I guess. Some will go to Grand Central, some will go to Penn Station. So I guess still see which one goes to. All right, so let's see, Grand Central a lot. Some of them will go to Grand Central, some. It's basically split, I guess, between the two with this, all right? So here we go again. And you'll see again, this is all split between the two terminals. And during the weekday, like middays, for instance, in the afternoons here, going westbound, you'll have trains at Mineola every pretty frequently. I got to say, we'll have very frequent service at Mineola going westbound. All right, with all trains stopping at Jamaica. All right. Now, what a friend told me is that only the Babylon branch is getting flyers. So I have to look at it and see about that. If that's the case, that's ridiculous. But anyway, you'll see here, they'll have pretty frequent service here at Mineola going, and this is again going westbound here. And some of these may be Ronkonkoma trains. Some of them may be, we'll have to look at the Ronkonkoma schedule too. See, but I mean, I like what I see here. I mean, it's a big change in the schedules, obviously. But Mineola sees pretty frequent service, and so does all the local stations on the main line are going to get every half an hour service. So if you're at Westbury, for instance, you're going to get a train every half an hour on the Huntington branch. But the Ronkonkoma train's still not going to stop at Westbury. That's a lie. They told me when they were going to add Ronkonkoma service that they were going to have Ronkonkoma trains stop at Westbury. That is not the case. You'll still have to change at Hicksville, I guess, for that. But I guess they figure because so many people are already on the Ronkonkoma trains once they get to Hicksville that having them make local stops may be a little too much. So this is the eastbound schedule now, the to Hicksville schedule here. All right, this is the eastbound schedule. All right, so in the evening, all right, well, we're looking, all right, let's look at the morning and we'll see the improvements that were made. So now at Mineola, let me find Mineola on here. So now these gaps are closed, and now you're going to have much more frequent service to Ronkonkoma. So if you wind up missing like the 6:35 Ronkonkoma train, you won't have to wait 2 hours anymore. There's actually going to be another one at 7:10. I think that's a Ronkonkoma train. Not sure. I have to look at the Ronkonkoma schedule. And you'll also have more frequent service here going to east toward Huntington as well. So the reverse, it's a real winner for reverse peak commuters. There's going to be a lot better service. None of these crazy gaps that you normally would see. All right. This is the PM peak now that we have. All right. So and the PM peak again. All the trains do stop at Jamaica. For some reason there are no flyers for the main line anymore. It seems like they've gotten rid of. My friend thinks that they're skipping Jamaica. I have to look at it and see if they really are or not. I don't think there should be any flyers, period. I think all trains should stop at Jamaica. That's my own opinion. But anyway, you'll see here that there are some expresses. And let's see, Mineola gets fairly frequent service again. 5D9, yeah, it seems pretty frequent to me. I mean, 703. And if you're on a local station along the main line, you'll get every 20 minutes in the rush hour, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, it seems about right. So, I mean, it seems like an improvement. Now let's look at the weekends. All right, weekend schedules on the main line. So this is Saturday, Sunday, AM. Let's see. I think we gotta stretch this out a little more here, so you can see the whole thing. But you can see Saturday, Sunday, AM. So in Mineola, you'll have a train you'll have a train almost every 15 minutes. That's 4 trains an hour at Mineola. So Mineola's going to see a big improvement. And again, if you're at Westbury, you're going to get half-hourly service. And every other train, one train goes to Penn, one train goes to Grand Central. So it looks pretty good to me. This is definitely a big improvement over what we have currently. Okay. And this also shows the trains that stop at Elmont UBS Arena as well. And it looks like most trains will actually wind up stopping at Elmont. But why don't they stop at Floral Park? That's what I don't understand. So they should be adding stops to Floral Park so people from Floral Park can get east. That I don't quite understand. Maybe they're not showing that in the schedule. I'll have to look at the Hempstead line schedule. But they're still making some mistakes here. All right. So that's what it looks like pretty much. All right. Saturday, Sunday, AM, and I guess they're showing. Yeah, I mean, I can't go over every little thing here. I mean, you can look at it in the video, but again, Mineola seems to be getting a lot of additional service. Certainly on the weekends and off-peak, we're going to be seeing service every 15 minutes, which is, pretty good for Mineola. But anyway, let's now go. Let me just zoom this out a little bit. Let's now backtrack. And let's I'm going to download these too. I'll do that later. Let's go to, all right, so this is the main line area, all right? Now you have Syosset, Cold Spring Harbor, and Huntington, all right? So the new schedule to the, what is going on here? They made a mistake. They're talking about the Babylon branch. They're saying the new schedule takes advantage of the new Mass Pike pocket track. Why are they saying that when it comes to, has nothing to do with Port Jefferson? Well, I guess it does in a way. So 14 electric trains per direction will run between Huntington and Manhattan. Most trains will make all stops through New Hyde Park. All trains will stop at Jamaica where transfer opportunities are available. At Cold Spring Harbor and South, this is a net increase of 1 train for 29 hours. So they're not going to see that much more extra service in the peak. Huntington also sees, and that's because there's no yard in Huntington for them to actually do that. Schedules are timed to permit seamless transfer between inner and outer zones at Wantaw. So I don't know why they're talking about the Babylon branch here. All right, so there'll be trains every half an hour between Manhattan and Huntington. Hourly service to Penn Station, hourly service to Grand Central. All trains will make local stops to New Hyde Park, and the gaps have been closed, obviously. And we kind of looked at this already here. So this kind of shows from Huntington. But again, they can't really add much service at Huntington because of the they don't have a yard there. So I can kind of understand why they can't do it. All But at least off-peak, there'll be some... So this is... let's see, the peak in the morning here. You get an idea. You can just, like, freeze the screen or zoom it or whatever. I'll provide the links to this page in the video below here. So Penn Station here, Grand Central. And again, every other train on the off-peak. One train goes to Grand Central, one train goes to Penn Station. All right. Saturday, you'll have the half-hourly service, all right, on the weekends. And again, every other train goes to, one train goes to Penn, one train goes to Grand Central, all right? So let's take a look at the Port Jefferson line as far as the diesel part of it now, all right? So, all right, rush hour services, and again, they're constrained by limitations. And the Penn Station direct trains have been adjusted, it says here, all right? And the trains will still run every 90 minutes between Port Jefferson and Huntington with limited through service to and from Jamaica. And again, unfortunately, they are not really adding much service to the Port Jefferson line. Port Jefferson line really getting screwed in this. Not really seeing anything out of the order, anything. So it's still going to be pretty much the same schedule here. You're going to have pretty much the same level of service. Let's see, Port Jefferson, you're still going to have, and you still have that gap that you're going to have out of Port Jefferson in the evening because again the single track. So after the 426 train, which at least that train will be a little later. After that, you're still going to have the 811. However, it looks like they did add. No, it looks like they might have added a train here at 642. It looks like they've added a train out of Stony Brook. So that the 649 becomes the 642. And then the next train after that is 812. And some of these will go through to Jamaica, it looks like. So it looks like some of these will go through. Some of them, it says a T there. It's hard to read it. But yeah, Port Jefferson can't really see too much improvements because, again, limitations of the single track out there. So it'll still be every 90 minutes, pretty much. But let's take a look and see going eastbound and see what it looks like in the morning here. So we're still seeing a train. Let's see, Mineola 8:23. It's still the same time. But then they have another train now that's going to be going east out of Mineola at 8:47. It looks like that gets in at 10:12. So it looks like they have actually increased. Did they increase some service in the reverse peak? I think they did. All right, so Mineola 6:23. All right, so that train is running a little bit earlier than the next train. Still have the 2-hour gap though. But they do have. Okay, so what they do have is I guess we'd have to transfer. They have this train here at 756, 816, and I guess this is a through train or whatever. It doesn't stop at Mineola, 756, and it stops at Hicksville at 818. So you'd have to take an eastbound train and transfer, I guess, at Hicksville to this extra train that they've put in. But they did put an extra train in the reverse peak hours in the morning, so that's good. That'll be good for the Stony Brook students. They'll have some improved service there, which is good. But still, yeah, the same old 90-minute service on the weekends here. And if anything, it seems, yeah, it's basically nothing's really changed there too much from that layout. So now that we looked at that, back, and we will go and we will look now at the Ronkonkoma branch. All right. So Hicksville, Mineola, and UBS Arena stations are shown here for the convenience of those who are planning a trip between those stations and a Hempstead branch train. But not all trains serving those stations are shown here. To plan a trip from here to these stations, Grand Central, please use the Main Line East or Main Line West pamphlet. Many trains will stop at Kew Gardens, Forest Hills, and Woodside. Some trains will make other stops between Hicksville and Jamaica. The new schedule for the Ronkonkoma branch takes advantage of the new second and third tracks on the main line as well as the new Mid-Suffolk Yard. It allows us to offer meaningful reverse peak service for the first time, double off-peak and weekend service, and more peak trains. So in the weekday peaks, trains will follow in two distinct patterns with a mix of Penn Station and Grand Central direct service. Inner zone trains will make all stops between Hicksville and Brentwood. outer zone trains will run express to Brentwood, Central Islip, and Ronkonkoma only. So these could be flyers right here. Schedules a time to permit seamless transfers between inner and outer zone trains at Brentwood. All trains will stop at Jamaica. Change there for service to Brooklyn. Evening rush hour service has greatly been increased by 50% over 2019 levels, with twice as many trains leaving after 6 p.m. These new stopping patterns will shorten your trip and reduce crowding. Trains will run every half an hour between Manhattan and Ronkonkoma, with hourly service to Penn Station, and each in Grand Central, obviously. So one train goes to Penn, one train goes to Grand Central. All trains will stop at UBS Arena, weekends only, Mineola, Hicksville, and all stops along the branch. So, it looks like we'll have all the Ronkonkoma trains stop at Mineola. That's very good off-peak. That is very good. Midday evenings and weekend services double what it was in 2019. The 105-minute AM reverse peak gap has been closed. Service east of Ronkonkoma is at similar levels. Not surprised there. So let's zoom in a little bit here, and we'll look at these schedules here. And shows Mineola. So a lot of the trains in the morning, some of them will they will all stop at Jamaica. But some of them will have stopping patterns that will. You notice the train schedule design looks more like Metro North's. This is something they've been working on for a while now. That's finally happening. That the design is going to look more like Metro North's design, which I happen to like better than the regular Long Island Railroad design. So you can see some trains will start at Brentwood. So out of Ronkonkoma, let's say you're going to have a train every 10 to 15 minutes in at least part of the rush hour. So that looks pretty decent there. And, so some Ronkonkoma trains will stop at Hicksville, some won't. You'll have some express trains. Okay. So, this is westbound out of Ronkonkoma, so you're going to have every half an hour service. Off-peak, as you can see. Eastbound, this is important for me because this is how I travel to the Pine Barrens. So, Mineola, you're going to have a train every half an hour heading eastbound to Ronkonkoma, which is very good news. Not all of these will stop at Pineland, though. Pineland will still have only hourly service. Some of them will skip every other train skips Pineland. And this is what the PM looks like. So, again, all trains stop at Jamaica, 401, Grand Central, 409, 454. So, looks like you have some trains out of Grand Central, some trains out of Penn. Of course, it's going to take a little while. People adjusted to using Grand Central versus Penn. You can see every other train. And then the weekends, it's going to alternate. Half-hourly service. Every other train goes to, and they all stop at Mineola. So that pattern of the Ronkonkoma train skipping Mineola on the weekends is gone. So I'm very happy about that. And you can see here, this is the weekend schedule. It just makes life, it's going to be a lot easier to get out east. It's going to be a lot easier to travel, especially out east, because there'll be a lot, be much, much easier. As far as the Greenport trains go, let's see, Monday through Friday. So still similar, the times are still the same, similar with that. They do have a little bit of an earlier one, though. 11, so the Greenport train now it's going to go out there a little earlier on the Monday through Friday. All right, and then there's an extra train. I guess this is like an extra one here. Going back from Greenport. Still gonna have that. Oh, you're actually adding a train at Riverhead at 5:04. It looks like. They're adding a train at 5:04. That's gonna connect up. That's new. All right. So let's see, Greenport here going on the weekends. Though you're still gonna have fairly limited service here. First train out, and it leaves Grand Central, so it'll be a Grand Central train, not a Penn Station train. 9:27, so it leaves Mineola at 8:36. All right, let's go out this. That's a pretty good time to get out there. Obviously, I'd like to see more trains on the Greenport line, but I think there are some simple limitations again due to the infrastructure. Now let's go to the pretty little Babylon branch. Now, isn't this interesting? The Babylon branch, for whatever reason, doesn't get split up. I don't know why, but well, neither does the Ronkonkoma branch. But well, I'll take a look at this. So let's take a look at this. St. Albans and Lynbrook are shown here due to for the convenience of those who are planning a trip between one and the above stations. Right? Not all trains serving those stations are shown here. The new schedule for the Babylon branch takes advantage of the Massapequa pocket track. It allows us to run more trains on busier western sections of the branch while increasing reliability by reducing congestion at Babylon. Trains will follow two distinct patterns in the weekday peak east of Jamaica, with a mix of both Penn Station and Grand Central direct service. All trains will stop at Jamaica. Inner zone trains will make all stops to Wantagh. Outer zone trains will make their first stop at Wantagh and then make all stops to Babylon. So they split it into two zones, which is interesting. So I don't know if they're going to have the three. They used to have the three zones, but maybe they're going to do it this way. Which actually, this makes a lot more sense, actually. Schedules are timed to permit seamless transfers between inner and outer zone trains at Wantagh. There will be a limited number of through trains between Freeport and Atlantic Terminal. Oh, so they get to keep their direct Atlantic service. That's interesting. So while everybody else has to deal with the shuttle, they get to keep it. So off-peak, at least 2 trains per hour will run between NYC and Babylon. One train will serve Penn Station, and the other will serve Grand Central. Similar off-peak pattern to Main Line. So in addition, a limited stop train will run between Penn Station and Babylon during most off-peak hours. Oh, so they have an addition to service. They're going to add semi-expresses. Unbelievable. They got to have those damn semi-expresses. Those are probably there to connect up with the Montauk trains. So let's take a look and see what we got here on the schedule here. And let's see. It looks like all trains are stopping at Jamaica. I don't see any trains skipping Jamaica yet, looking at the schedule here. So it looks like you're going to get a train every 10 to 15 minutes here over here. And then, yeah, the zone splits at Wantagh. So this is smart. This is actually smart. It's simple. It's easier to understand versus these odd trains that make only 3 stops. Those 3-stop trains are done. I don't see any of them on here. And they all seem to stop at Jamaica, which is good. However, I notice a lot of them don't stop at... they're not going to show all the trains that stop at Lynbrook. They're not going to show all the trains that stop at Lynbrook. Okay, so you can see again, I don't see any flyers here. No, they all stop at Jamaica. I don't know, my friend was saying they're flyers. No, I don't see. I think all trains are going to stop at Jamaica, just like on Metro North, how all trains stop at 125th Street. So Jamaica's, again, this is going to be in the Metro North style, these schedules here, all right? So Babylon, you're pretty much getting half-hourly service, but in addition to that, you are getting these semi-express trains. So, yeah, they're adding an extra train, and that's going to go, I guess, to Penn Station. So they get these extra semi-express trains. But still, I mean, we're getting plenty of service on the main line here. But no, they got to see the 3 trains an hour. Yeah, the semi-express trains are going to be every hour. So they're going to have a semi-express train every hour. So the pretty little Babylon branch is going to get 3 trains per hour on this, of course, because, you know, they are the Babylon branch. Only the best for them, But let's see, are they getting rid of that annoying gap in the evening here? 5159. They are getting rid of that gap. Good. All right, because there was a gap. If you missed the 439, you have to wait almost an hour out of Babylon. So you wanted to do that again. But yeah, they're going to have a lot of these semi-express trains. So if you're in Belmore, you're going to get a whole ton of service here. Just a ton of service. A train every... Even all the off-peak, you're going to get a train every 20 minutes. But again, in Mineola, we're still going to see 4 trains an hour. So we still got more service than Belmore. And it is a draft. The schedule could change. They're saying here it could change. It's a draft. But you'll see here that we'll have Freeport, and then you have, let's see, any... All right, so this is going west. Let's see how this works with Lynbrook. So it seems like they have reduced the amount of trains serving Lynbrook, though, which I don't like. So now, instead of having a train every half an hour to Lynbrook on the Babylon branch, you're going to only have a train every hour. So not all the trains. So it's similar to the weekend pattern, where not every train stops at Lynbrook. So you're only going to have a train every hour at Lynbrook, unfortunately. That kind of sucks, because that's kind of a reduction to... Why are they doing that? I don't know. But let's go look now at the eastbound schedule. All right, so this is your eastbound schedule and your reverse peak service. I'm assuming this here is a Montauk train. The schedule looks kind of similar, pretty much. But again, you're going to have these semi-expresses. Semi-expresses, I guess. I don't know if they're designed to connect up with the Montauk trains or not. And they might be. But again, it's interesting that the Huntington line doesn't get that. They don't get special trains to connect up with their diesels that terminate. Yeah, so let's see what we got here. So this is eastbound here. So let's see, out of Jamaica, you have 359 and 431. That's a semi-express. So it doesn't look like they're. It looks like all the this whole concept of flyers and these three-stop flyers are gone. Oh wait. There might be one here. Nope, that still stops at Jamaica. That's a diesel. But I think they all do stop at Jamaica. This gives you an idea. It definitely looks a lot more like a Metro North schedule versus a Long Island Railroad. I guess that's Kathy Rinaldi's influence. But yeah, you'll have some trains. Wantaw is going to be spoiled because they're going to be served by the locals and the express. Of course, they're going to be served by a lot of these expresses, and then they'll have some direct trains out of Atlantic too as well that will go to Freeport as well. So again, the Pretty Little Babylon branch gets to keep its direct Atlantic service. Yeah, of course they're spoiled somewhat, but we're getting a lot of extra service too here in Mineola. Let's see what we got here on the weekends schedule here. So weekends, you're still gonna have the semi-expresses. So yeah, 3 trains an hour at certain Babylon stations. Other than that, two trains an hour. Semi-expresses go to Babylon. And some of these are diesels that you see in here. What is this? 704 and 716. They got 2 diesels back to back like that. I have a feeling the Montauk train is going to see a lot of extra service. We're going to look at that too. Yeah, the Babylon branch is getting plenty of extra service. That's, pretty much the deal. You see what's going on here. I don't have to explain it to you. Yeah, plenty of extra service on the Babylon branch. And what gets me is that they're still going to have half hourly out of Penn off peak because the semis. So when you count the semis in, they're still going to have 2 trains an hour out of Penn. No other branch will have that. Only the Pretty Little Babylon branch is going to have that. So. Alright, well, let's look at the Babylon schedule. I mean, I can't look at over every single schedule here. Let's go to the Hempstead branch. Alright, this shows the Hempstead branch here. So, Hollis and Queens Village are going to see a 22% increase in rush hour service with 11 trains. 1 train each morning and 1 train each evening goes to Brooklyn, while the rest will evenly split between Penn Station and Atlantic. Floral Park sees a similar increase in service. Most of these added trains before more service in the early morning arriving Manhattan between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. and early afternoon. Weekday off-peak, Hollis, Queens Village, Elmont, and Belrose will run hourly to Grand Central for service to Atlantic Terminal, change at Jamaica. At Floral Park, trains will run every half an hour with hourly service to Penn Station and hourly service to Grand Central. So I'm wondering if mainline trains will be stopping at Floral Park now. On the weekend, Hollis, Queens Village, and Floral Park will see service every half an hour, alternating between Penn and Grand Central. All right. So let's take a look and see what we have here. All right, so this is Floral Park. This is the westbound schedule here for Floral Park. I don't know if these trains are coming off the main line or not. Some of them may be coming off the main line. So maybe we will see mainline trains stop at Floral Park. It's just not showing up on the mainline schedule, perhaps. Again, because this is just draft schedules, and the schedules are all in pieces. I wish they would have just done it as a whole schedule instead of breaking it up into pieces. It makes it very confusing. It really does. You'll see plenty of extra service at Elmont UBS. Gets me that Elmont UBS gets more service than like Belrose or Queens Village. And what gets me on the weekdays, though, Queens Village, Hollis is still going to be stuck with hourly service. That is not fair at all. That's discrimination right there. That's discrimination. We all know why that is. We all know why that is. I don't have to explain it to you. So we'll actually see better service on the weekend than they will during weekday middays. Oh wait. Oh, this is just showing to New York. Okay, so there's 2 separate schedules. Okay, okay. So, no, maybe they will still have half-hourly service at every other train going to Atlantic, I think. No, is this a misprint? It's saying to Atlantic. But it's the other way. It's eastbound. They made a mistake here. Yeah, they kind of made a mistake here, didn't they? Alright, that's to New York, but this says to Atlantic. But it's coming from Atlantic. It's going eastbound. I don't know, man. Yeah, there's still some mistakes they got to fix in here. So I guess maybe there will be some direct Atlantic service. But it just says to Atlantic. It doesn't show the to Atlantic terminal. It goes from Atlantic. It goes from Atlantic. Okay, so from Atlantic. Here's Atlantic, but there's nothing from Atlantic. And in the evening rush hour, there's one Atlantic train that will go, and that's it. Just one that will go to Floral Park. That's it. Meanwhile, the Babylon branch gets like a bunch more. All right, so weekends to New York. You'll have the half-hourly service at Queens Village on the weekends. It looks like here. Where they have the trains are at Floral Park. So I wonder if that's a train that comes off the main line or not. 855. Floral Park. They made this confusing with the way they split the schedules up like this. They should have just had it in one like schedule like they're supposed to. 312. Floral Park. 314. But the trains that stop at Floral Park don't seem to stop at. This is a bit of an issue because off peak, if you want to go from like Floral Park to like Belrose, all right, you can, but then you can't go to Queens Village. Oh wait, you can go to Queens. Okay, you can. They will stop at Queens Village. Okay. Queens Village and Hollis. Okay. Got it. All trains stop at Jamaica, so no flyers. This is. Yeah, there's a mistake here. It's saying to Atlantic. It's not. It's definitely a mistake. So they made some mistakes here. Some misprints. Anyway, let's go look at the rest of the Hempstead branch here. Stewart and through Hempstead. Let's see. 9 trains each hour in each direction will run to and from Manhattan, evenly split between Penn Station and Grand Central. 1 train in the morning and 1 train in the afternoon will still run to Brooklyn, and all trains will stop at Jamaica. Trains will run every hour between Hempstead and Grand Central. The Hempstead branch will now provide a 1-seat ride into Manhattan at all times. So it's disappointing that they don't have half-hourly service on the Hempstead line. Kind of wish they did. Wait a minute, they do? No, they don't. It'll just be hourly service, and it'll go to Grand Central. So I don't know why they can't. You know, I know they say, the single track to Hempstead, but, you know, I guess they feel it's close enough to Mineola that most people are just going to go to Mineola and get the train there. But, you know, it's still, it'll be direct service, but kind of disappointing it couldn't be half-hourly on the Hempstead line. And let's see. Let's take a look at their rush hour service now. The rush hour service isn't great. It's not great. It's not great at all. Not really a big improvement over what they have currently on the Hempstead line. It's one of those secondary lines, you know. 404 out of Penn, so they only have 4 direct trains out of Penn. And they have 1 direct train out of Atlantic. They'll keep 1 direct Atlantic train. But they're going to lose a lot of their Atlantic service. They're going to have to transfer. 650. They have 4 out of... So 8 trains in the rush hour. In the PM rush. 4 out of Penn. 4 out of Grand Central. That's not a lot. That is not a lot. It's an improvement. A little improvement of what they have. But not by much. Not by much at all. So looking at the weekend here. Hourly service on the weekend all goes to Grand Central. All right. Too far Rockaway. Oh, yeah, they made a lot of mistakes here. All right, they made a lot of mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes. All right. They got to check. You got to fix those. All right, so now let's go to another pretty little Eastbound Branch or South Shore. All right, so weekday peak. 19 morning rush hour trains, 17 evening rush hour trains are provided at Lynbrook, an increase of 4 per day from 2019. Arriving early morning service around Manhattan is doubled. Most of the trains will go to or from Manhattan. Limited Brooklyn through service is available as well. Off-peak and weekend. On weekdays, one train per hour goes to Penn and the other goes to Grand Central. On weekends, all daytime trains go to Grand Central. So they will not have Penn Station service at Lynbrook, apparently. So that's kind of interesting. But there are transfer options available at Valley Stream and Jamaica for Penn Station. So yeah, Lynbrook is kind of getting screwed a little bit too. They will see extra service, but so this is Lynbrook, shows Valley Stream, Rosedale. And this is not going to show all the trains that stop at Valley Stream. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's just showing the ones that stop at both. Yeah, it's just showing only hourly service at Valley Stream, and I'm pretty sure Valley Stream's going to have more than that Monday through Friday. But it looks like they're... Let's see what they're doing here. So these are the trains. So some trains... Okay, so one of those trains is a Babylon train, but they're both going to go to Grand Central. On weekdays, they'll still have direct Penn. It's those direct Penn here on weekdays. They'll still be... It's the weekends they're not going to have the direct Penn service, right? 6:49. Let's see. Again, it's kind of confusing. So it's going to be a long video. I'm just looking at it along with you. We're just kind of taking it all in. It's a lot of changes for sure. So Lynbrook will still see a good amount of service. It looks like rush hour every 10 to 15 minutes, but not as frequent as Montauk, which is kind of messed up. But guess which town is whiter? Montauk. So there's even favoritism among Babylon Branch stations. It's ridiculous. So let's go to the weekend schedule here at Lynbrook. So weekends, there will be half-hourly. There will be half-hourly service. Not quite exactly on the half hour. One will be at 9:09, one will be at 57. One of those trains is a Long Beach train. That's going to go to Grand Central. And then, yeah, all trains will go to Grand Central. So that's kind of messed up that they don't have a Babylon train that's going to stop that would wind up going to Grand Central. Usually those semi-expresses stop at Lynbrook, and those semi-expresses would be the ones that would go to... I guess they don't stop there anymore. So they took a stop off the semi-express. I have to look at the semi-express schedule again. I wonder if they moved it to Rockville Center. Because they usually have a stop at Lynbrook on those semi-expresses, so they're not going to stop there anymore, I guess. So this is what your schedule looks like for Lynbrook. So pretty much keeping the same level of service that you have, pretty much. There's Eastbound, and again, Long Beach. One of these will be a Long Beach train. One of these will be a Babylon train, and it's uneven timing too, I notice. So let's see. Hold on a second. You'll have... oh, no. This is... Where's Lynbrook? It's down here. All right. So, yeah. 9:29, 9:49. So 20 minutes, then 40 minutes. So it's a 20-40 gap is what they're doing there at Lynbrook, I guess. So now let's go to the Far Rockaway Branch. Let's go to the Port Washington Branch. All right. So let's follow the Port Washington Branch now. And again, it's just one here that they have. They don't have it split up into zones. Weekday peak trains will generally follow two distinct patterns with a mix of both Penn and Grand Central. Interzone trains they're going to have interzone trains. So interzone trains will make all stops to Bayside. Some trains will continue nonstop to Great Neck. Outer zone trains will make their first stop Bayside, then all stops to Port Washington. All trains will stop at Woodside. Queen stations will see up to 13% more peak AM service and 38% more PM service than in 2019, plus new express trains for Bayside, Douglaston, and Little Neck. All peak on weekends, you'll have half-hourly service between Manhattan and Port Washington. One goes to Grand Central, one goes to Penn. And Murray Hill, Broadway, and Auburndale Plan Dome customers will see double weekday, midday service levels, as all trains will make all stops. And some gaps to talk about have been closed. So let's take a look at these schedules here. Oh, my mistake. My mistake. So, here we go. Port Washington. So, Port Washington will see trains every... It's like a similar service levels today. They're not really... Then again, they have a single track into Port Washington. Great Neck will see... I don't see huge increases for the Port Washington branch here. Great Neck... Yeah, so you have half-hourly service, and then the peak you'll have, you know, maybe 10 to 20-minute service, I guess, at Port Washington. Great Neck. And you're going to have some express trains from Great Neck. Here's the one that's going to basically go Great Neck, and then it's going to skip Little Neck and Douglaston and stop there. And then they'll have the trains that stop at Little Neck and Douglaston. Bayside be expresses. I wonder if they fix these off-peak gaps at Auburndale. So off-peak, they're going to see half-hourly service. So something that one of my friends, one of my Andy's randomness has spoken about, I think, is that it's not fair that they have these trains alternating stops when they should really be making all stops, and I agree with that. So it looks like they'll see half-hourly service with trains alternating between Grand Central and Penn Station. All right. And here's the PM service here. All right. So let's go look at the eastbound service now on the Port Washington line. All right. There are some troubling gaps here in eastbound. Well, that's again because there's a single track east of Great Neck. Right. And that you're gonna have half-hourly service off peak. Here is what it looks like in the rush hour. It looks like a decent amount of rush hour service here. But again, a lot of these trains will be that used to run out of Penn. And this is the same thing with a lot of the schedules. A lot of trains that used to run out of Penn are now going to split between Penn and Grand Central. So half and half. So Penn is kind of losing half its service in some ways, and it's going to Grand Central. That's what's going on, basically. And they'll have more space at Penn Station to take care of maintenance issues, as well as work on that Metro North line that they want to bring in. And more slots at Penn, maybe even New Jersey Transit can improve service with more people. Because a lot of people work on the heart of Midtown. Grand Central is closer to than Penn. Some people want to go to Penn. It depends on where you're going. All right. But it looks like you'll see half hour. Let's take a look at this. So it looks like none of this alternating crap anymore on the Port Washington line. You're going to have half-hourly service at every single Port Washington branch station on the weekends. So that's very good to see. All right, let me go back to the... What did I have to go back? All right, I got to go... Let me go look at the Long Beach branch, because we didn't look at the rest of that. So 12 morning trains, 11 peak evening trains, roughly even split. Rush hour service is more evenly spaced. All trains stop at Jamaica. Most trains will also make Valley Stream and Lynbrook stops as well. You see, this is your Long Beach schedule here. This is your morning peak. You have a train every 20 to 30 minutes on that, so I don't see any huge increases in service. But again, those trains usually aren't that crowded anyway. These are like the more minor, call them the more minor branches, so to speak. Not one of the core four, but some of these trains that show up are... Yes, actually, a few of these trains do skip Lynbrook. There are a couple of rush hour trains that do wind up skipping Lynbrook, though. Here's one from Penn that does. Most of them will stop there, but there are a few that don't. So there are a few expresses like this. There's an express here after Jamaica. The next stop, it will stop at Valley Stream, then it's going to stop at Center Avenue. I don't know why it makes Valley Stream, but not Lynbrook, but... That's sort of like what it looks like there. So now let me go And oh no, I gotta look at the rest of it. I gotta look at the weekend too. All right. Is are they gonna get a half hourly service on the week? No, they're still gonna have hourly service on the Long Beach branch. So they're not gonna really get in. All their service is gonna go out of Grand Central. Okay. So now let's go and look at the let me go back to the Babylon branch and let me look at the semi-express pattern again, because the semi-express pattern used to serve Lynbrook, and it's not going to anymore. Let me look at that. Nope, it's not going to serve Lynbrook. So at Freeport, it's going to be express to Jamaica. So no Lynbrook on those. Yeah, no Lynbrook on those. I don't know why they took Lynbrook off those semi-expresses should be stopping at Lynbrook. That needs to be fixed. I think they should be stopping at Lynbrook. That needs to be fixed. All right, so I'll have some suggestions here. That pretty much what taking away from this. All right, so Far Rockaway Branch. Probably roughly 60% of the trains will run, rush hour trains will run into Penn Station. Early morning, late evening rush hour service. Double the amount of trains. Local Mineola, Alton, Rosedale LC service increased by 17%. And Valley Stream morning rush hour service has been increased by 21%. Service between on weekends and off peak, service between Valley Stream and Manhattan is half hourly or better. At Valley Stream, at Locust, Mineola, Alton, Rosedale, reverse commute service has been increased in the morning and doubled in the evening. Weekday off-peak service will continue to run once an hour. Weekend service has been doubled to 2 trains an hour, alternating between Penn Station and Grand Central. So here is your Far Rockaway schedule at Valley Stream. All right, so Valley Stream should see plenty of service. Yeah, every half an hour at least. So Valley Stream will continue to see good service. And Valley Stream will now have direct service to Penn Station. Well, it always says that direct, but it'll have one train goes to Penn, one train goes to Grand Central. All right. This is sort of like, well, I'll just show you what it looks like here. All right. So Valley Stream is over here. You can see plenty of service. Let's look at the weekend schedule here. At Valley Stream, you'll have trains every half. You're going to have that 20-40 mix again. Actually, no, they have a couple of extra trains that stop here. Extra train 824. What's this? Is that a West Hempstead train? Doesn't show. It's confusing because it doesn't show you where the trains come from. When I have the one schedule, it's kind of easier to see. Looks like Valley Stream is going to get 2 trains an hour, but at certain times there'll be 3. So it looks like a couple of extra trains there for Valley Stream as well. All right. So now let's go look at the Oyster Bay branch, which we haven't done yet. I gotta look at the Montauk branch too. Oyster Bay branch service remaining the same, of course, with 2 exceptions. The morning electric train from East Wallace has been restored and will now run to Grand Central. I wish they would run more electric trains out of there and use that. They just don't want it for whatever reason. Midday weekday service continues to run every 1 to 2 hours, and weekend service will run every 2 hours. There continues to be 1 direct train to Penn Station each hour. All trains will stop at Mineola except for the 6:43 a.m. from Jamaica. All Oyster Bay trains run. It will stop west from track 3. This could be a mess here. Transfer opportunities at Jamaica for Penn Station will be available for Oyster Bay. They're denoted by the J on the table. So here are your Oyster Bay trains here. Right, so there's not a whole lot of change here, unfortunately, for the Oyster Bay line really being left behind. In fact, it seems like they've gotten rid of some trains on the Oyster Bay line. They've actually gotten rid of trains on the Oyster Bay line. It used to be 2 in this hour, so now you only have 6:04. You missed that 8:28, but then they have one at 9:38 out of Oyster Bay. So Oyster Bay line really not seeing a whole lot, and 3 of those trains will go to Hunters Point, and 1 is into. And there's the 746 from East Wallace, and that will go to Grand Central. Monday through Friday. Let's take a look at this. So 425. So again, 1 direct train, just very limited service Again, these eastbound trains stopping at Mineola are going to cause some weird switching issues. That's what I'm concerned about. And you have that, so when the eastbound train comes in, the westbounds will have to wait for it a lot longer than what they normally would. So at least I think that's, in theory, that's how it would work. Here's your weekend schedule on the Oyster Bay line. Oyster Bay line is left behind here. Why do they have two 940 trains here? That's another misprint. Is that going to be the last train out of Oyster Bay? So Oyster Bay really, I mean, Glen Cove, it's like, that whole area is just like isolated to the point of just being useless. 6:33, 8:33, and again, yeah, so 2-hour train. That's very bad. Oyster Bay line not seeing any extra service. Now let's go to the Montauk Branch. Montauk Branch troubles remain the same. There will be 2 direct trains between Spionk and Penn Station each hour, and the South Fork commuter connection will continue to run. Departure times have been adjusted, and a new early morning Pat train to Patchogue has been added, departing Babylon at 5:40 a.m. Transfer opportunities at Jamaica or Babylon or Penn Station and Grand Central will be available for the Montauk service. So sort of like what it looks like. So pretty much the same schedule for the day, and I guess you'll have those. Hold on, we have a number of these trains that are actually going to go to Mineola now. So actually, some of these will stop in Mineola. In the westbound, you're going to have some of these trains make Mineola. Hicksville and Mineola 3, actually. 6:49, 7:15, and 8:17. So they're finally starting to utilize that. Like if you live on the South Shore, you can, take the train to Mineola without having to go to Jamaica, which is a good idea. So they're finally utilizing that. And they've added a later weekday train here. 4:52 out of Montauk. Finally. There's no crazy gap anymore. They finally added that train, and that's good. That's very good. So yeah, they've added some service here on the Montauk Branch. Of course, it's the South Shore, but they really did need to add that train there. That was important. That was important to do. So this is what it looks like on the Montauk line. Now let's go and look at that's your Monday through Friday westbound. Now let's look at your Monday through Friday eastbound. All right, there's your South Fork commuter connection. All right. Other than that, schedule is still fairly similar going out to Montauk during the day. Some of these trains probably will be the semi-expresses. They'll probably wind up connecting up with those Montauk. So a lot of the Montauk trains will have the semi-expresses connect up with them. That's why they have all the semi-expresses there. So they're not going to run all the diesels all the way. And they have a Friday-only train. That is the Cannonball. So it looks like, all right, so here we have, so that's what their Montauk schedule looks like. Let's go now look at let's see now, eastbound. Still have the 324. All right, so you still have the 2 train, 324 at Mineola. That's going to now stop at Hicksville, 332. And then 513 and 521 at Mineola, so that's good. So let's go now look at the weekends. All right, I still wish they would have service between Mineola. I don't know if those trains are going to run on the main line or not. If they run down the main line, then they should be stopping at Mineola or Hicksville. We know some of these trains, most of them do take the Babylon branch. So it's your weekend schedule from Montauk, similar to what we have right now. All right. Let's look at the going eastbound schedule. So eastbound, 7:50. So very similar early. This is the 7:50. Maybe they're going to keep that train year round, which would be nice. That earlier train. All right. And then 7:52. And then so this is going east. All right. Actually, I want to go back up and look at the weekend for a minute. So this is still the same kind of schedule. We have 3:16. Arrives at Patchogue, 4:53, and does not stop at Babylon. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Because now, like I say, if you're on this train, you want to go to Babylon. Usually there's a train right behind it, but now you're going to have to wait till 5:34 5:58. This train's a little earlier now. They made this train earlier. Instead of being at 35, it's now at 16. So it gets to Patchogue earlier. I guess they did that to pad it because it has a habit of running late. But there's no really good connection. This is a problem here that this train, I feel, should stop at Babylon. All right. Shouldn't have to wait out there. Stop at Babylon. So it's express from Patchogue to Jamaica. And then the next train, 6:58, will actually stop at Babylon. All right. So we see some expanded service here on this. And now, again, I think we got one more to go here. And that is the West Hempstead line. And then I really want to have this video up by 9 o'clock, and it's almost 9 o'clock already. Weekday peak, 5 morning peak trains and 6 evening peak trains will run on the West Hempstead branch. Same. It's pretty much same as in 2019. All trains will stop at St. Albans, which will now see additional service from Babylon branch trains as well. So there are 3 morning through trains to Manhattan, up from 1, and 4 from Manhattan in the afternoon, up from 0. So most trains will run every half an hour between West Hempstead and Atlantic Terminal. So, and those trains will no longer stop at Valley Stream. So off peak, they're going to have service to Atlantic Terminal. It's not going to be like a shuttle. So there'll still be, all West Hempstead trains will stop at St. Albans. Babylon branch trains will not stop at St. Albans except during weekday reverse peak periods. Off peak. The West Hempstead branch and St. Albans stations see more than double the off-peak service than they did in 2019. The span of service has been lengthened. So this is the West Hempstead branch schedule here. It's kind of disappointing that West Hempstead isn't going to get served. It isn't going to get direct service. There'll be a couple of trains maybe that, I don't think they have any direct trains that are going to go into Manhattan. That's not right. Oh, the rush hour they do, but it'll only be rush hours only. Then off-peak they go to Atlantic. I guess it's still better because off-peak they used to just go to Jamaica. Or some of them actually used to be a shuttle to Valley Stream, so I guess that is an improvement. So there you go. It's going over all the new schedules. I mean, look, I see some things that are wrong here, obviously, but it's going to be a big improvement for most riders, especially if you're on the core 4 branches, especially on the main line. We're going to see a lot of improvement service. So like the big winners in this are going to be the main line and the Babylon branch are going to be 2 big winners here, particularly Ronkonkoma, Babylon, and mainline, the Ronkonkoma line. I already said that. So, all right, it's been a long video. So it's been my thoughts about this, and the westbound schedule at UBS Arena is temporary. Upon completion of the signal switch near Queens Village, westbound trains from Hempstead will stop at the station. Interim westbound trains, customers from the Hempstead branch traveling to UBS Arena should transfer to Floral Park. But that'll, of course, be done when this whole project is done. So at this time, morning rush hour service will be mainly provided via Hempstead branch trains instead of trains from Port Jefferson and Ronkonkoma. So a whole lot of information here. Get ready to read this and look at this for at least an hour. That's how long this video has been. So thank you for watching. And you know, I like a lot of what I see, but I think there are some people that are being left out too, particularly on the Port Jefferson branch and the Oyster Bay branch. Really, completely forgotten. Anyway, that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching.